Good evening. I'm Madison Carmouche. You're joining us right after the Cats took on Tennessee in a major road regular season finale for UK. Armando Berry joins us to explain how the game went for UK and what it means for their season. Armando?
Hey Madison, this was a huge regular season finale win for UK, and it's very important because of the postseason position that is at stake. At the start of the day, UK was in a four-way tie for the second seed in the upcoming conference tournament with Alabama, Auburn, and South Carolina. But before we break that down, let's take a look at those highlights. Here, UK and Tennessee, two heavy hitters in the SEC duking it out here. Justin Edwards adjusts, and he's going to pull up right there for the bucket on the opening bucket of the game here. And then a little bit later, off the miss, Onyenso is going to erase this shot for the first of two early blocks. His presence was felt in this game. Later, the Cats found themselves down 3, but the former North Laurel Jaguar, so smooth, stops and pops in there, and UK is within 1 point. The Cats led 33-29 at halftime and went on to win 85-81. All the full highlights later in sports.
Well, definitely a good day to stay in and watch the game because outside it has been soggy and dreary across the mountains and still looking that way for most of us. Here's a live look outside the WYMT studio, and you can see it is cloudy and rainy, 45 degrees as we speak. Similar situation down at the London Corbin Airport. And as we head on over to Pikeville, 46 degrees there and a lot of rain still falling at the intersection of 119 and US 23. Pinpoint Doppler radar showing some rain across the area, the heaviest of the precipitation down along the Virginia border from Norton back up to Whitesburg, Cumberland, and Harlan. Letcher, Harlan counties back over into southern Knox and Whitley County. Also seeing a good little bit of rain from Corbin down to Williamsburg right now, and that is pushing off to the east. All this part of a cold front which is crossing the region right now. We're seeing those temperatures drop. We were into the 50s earlier. Now we are into the 40s, and we're going to see those thermometers continue to fall through the evening, eventually bottoming out into the lower 30s tonight. Don't forget to set your clock forward tonight as daylight saving time, excuse me, kicks back in at 1 o'clock. So we're going to see the sun up at 7:50 tomorrow morning and go down at 7:36. Also a good time to switch out those batteries and the smoke detectors. We're going to take a look at a much drier forecast heading our way. That's coming up here in a few minutes, Madison.
All right, Shane, thank you. A Wolfe County man has been charged after a shooting that led to an 18-hour manhunt. Pedro Torres faces several charges. Kentucky State Police said Friday they determined through investigation Torres fired a weapon striking another person. Several schools went on lockdown as a result. Wolfe County School District Superintendent Kenny Bell says hard lockdowns policies are more strict because of previous shootings in the country.
A hard lockdown, it just no one enters the building. No one picks up their kid, no one leaves or enters the building. That prevents any incidental, accidental, someone propping the door for like they're not supposed to for a minute and something happening.
Bell says once they transitioned to a soft lockdown, they had an increased police presence along bus routes as students were dismissed. The Federal Bureau of Prisons is moving forward with plans to build a new correctional institution in Letcher County. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us where officials are in the planning process.
More than $500 million has been secured for plans to build a federal correctional institution in Letcher County. The medium security prison will be located in Roxana. More than 300 jobs will be added to the region.
The Bureau of Prisons have prisons that are 50 years old or maybe some 100 years old, and of course that makes it difficult to support and maintain and so forth. And so what they're about, they tell us, is to find some new buildings.
Cornett says the property is equipped to hold the facility.
It has been strip mined there. It has a few hundred acres that are level and okay to build on, and it's at a site.
Representative Hal Rogers released a statement about the prison update saying, quote, if this new prison facility isn't built in Letcher County, it will be built in another state, and Kentucky will lose out on the funding and opportunities that come with it, end quote. Cornett says Rogers has been a big help in the process.
Of course, he's looking for economic opportunity here, jobs and so forth. But I guess we approached him and said, hey, we want to do this thing, and would you help us? And he has helped us.
Cornett says the landowners seem to be ready to cooperate with plans to build the prison. In Letcher County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Representative Hal Rogers said the next step in the process will be another public comment period. Attorney General Russell Coleman is urging the Franklin Circuit Court to end its death penalty ban. There has been a stay on executions in Kentucky since 2010. Coleman filed a motion with the court to end that ruling. There are 26 Kentucky inmates on death row at this time. No executions have happened since 2008. Lawmakers filed a bill in the House this session to abolish the death penalty. House Bill 38 has not been assigned a committee. According to TV Line, about 28 million people watched the president's State of the Union address. That's up from last year's 23 million viewers. President Biden's speech previewed the campaign ahead with his emphasis on the economy, reproductive issues, and foreign affairs. Biden used the speech as an opportunity to contrast his leadership style with that of the likely Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump. Trump took to Truth Social to call Biden's speech an embarrassment to our country. Trump also described the president's speech as angry and polarizing. A family in Powell County needs your help getting back on their feet after a fire sent several members of the family to the hospital yesterday morning. As Julia Narvaez Munguia shows us, they're looking for a miracle.
They lost everything they had. They had just put their tax money into it, remodeling it. And now they're with nothing.
Michelle Brown's daughter, Kaylee, and her husband, along with 5 children, live in this home. They called it their forever home. They bought it on March 8th of last year, and exactly 1 year later, it burned down.
My grandson, Sebastian, is 4 years old, and he's autistic. And he had a Shih Tzu dog that was his little emotional support animal. And we lost Willow in the fire yesterday. He not only lost his home, but he lost what to him was his best friend.
1-year-old Kiki was in her parents' bedroom when the fire broke out.
I was barefoot running through the mud. I asked him where the kids were, and he pointed to the back bedroom. I tried the back door, it was locked. He knocked the window out of it, and I went to the window in the very back and put my arm through it, ripped the blankets down and tried to get them out that way. And I tried to get to the little girl, and I just couldn't. It didn't matter how low I got to the floor, that smoke was too thick.
First responders found the mobile home engulfed in flames, and that's when they entered the home in search of the child.
Searched around for her and could not see her, could not find her. And he said it was almost like there was a glow when he found her. I've been doing this for a long time, and to see a mobile home fully engulfed and that fire stop at that last bedroom, and that's where she was found.
Kiki remains in the ICU while her dad is in critical condition in Louisville. While Kaylee and her husband will be out of work recovering in the meantime, Brown says she knows that God and the community around her will be there for their family throughout this time. In Powell County, Julia Narvaez Munguia, WKYT.
Friends have organized a GoFundMe page for the family. So far, it has raised more than $5,500. We will have a link for that GoFundMe in this story on WYMT.com. Coming up, we are just a few hours away from springing forward, but the time change may impact your health as well.
Still seeing some showers across the mountains this evening, but drier weather's on the way. We'll talk about that after the break.